Hi everyone, Armored Pants here, having another tank review for you in the Russian line. This is the Tier 9 medium, the T-54. Now if you want to reach me, you want to ask me a specific question or anything, it's better to reach me on my Facebook page, which is at WOTB Gameplay, at World of Tank Blitz Gameplay on Facebook. If you can message me there, and I usually answer very quickly. Now, looking at the tech spec, we're going to use blitzhanger.com as always. The T-54, I really like it as a tank, I have to say. I think it's one of the best mediums in its tier, and it really is a great medium tank. There's no getting away from that. It really has everything you want in a medium tank, right? It's fast, mobile, agile, great rate of fire, good DPM, and it has armor, which is really good. The 100mm gun does lack a bit of pen, especially if you're up tiered, so therefore you need to use heat, the premium round. You know, but there's a reason for our premium ammunition, so there's no shame in using it. And if you're up tiered against big armoured beasts, you're going to need it, so what? So make sure you'll have that loaded up. Because you're tier 9, you will come up against tier 10s eventually. Now the muzzle velocity in the top gun is low, therefore supercharge is essential, and even with supercharge you'll see it's less than 1200 meters per second. So you really need to get that muzzle velocity up. And then of course to use refined gun to reduce penetration loss over distance. If you are sniping, this is very beneficial. Now, there are two guns on it, both tier 9s, both 100mm. The first gun actually has slightly better pen, but the reason I don't use it is it doesn't have such a good rate of fire. The reload goes up by 0.3 of a second, but the other thing is the penetration loss over distance is significant. It's almost 6%. So therefore, if you are going to use this for sniping, and you should use medium tanks for sniping, depending on games, it is a key facet of medium tank play. You will need that additional pen over distance. Now, this tank has excellent traverse speed, really good. I have almost 54 degrees of traverse, which is fantastic. Forward speed is great, 56 kilometers an hour, backward 20, so it's very mobile, very agile. On hard terrain, the power weight ratio and the traverse is a bit lower than you might expect, but look, when you're playing this tank you really don't notice it that much, I have to say. And on medium soft terrain it's great. Now let's look at the tank in armor. Its frontal armor is good. It also has some side armor, as you'll see here, and you can actually get some really good relative armor numbers on the side. So in effect you could actually even side scrape in this, especially if you're top tier. So it's just something to bear in mind. If you're stuck, if there is a heavy in front of you, if you can side scrape, particularly if you can hire your lower plate, you can actually, it's a tactic that can be done in this tank due to its armor profile. The turret armor, as you can see, is good. Look at those, some really nice relative armor numbers on that. Difficult to pen, especially if you're top tier. You are going to be difficult to pen the turret, so you can really go hull down. The tracks are exposed though, as you can see, so therefore run 2 repair kits. Why? Well, you don't need the engine accelerated tanks fast anyway. And secondly, you really don't want to get stuck, tracked out in the open when you're in a tier 9 or tier 10 game. Just think of some of the guns that are out there, the T-30, the waffle tractor, etc. Right? Big guns that can do a lot of damage to you. Now you can be a top tier bully in this, but in tier 10 of course you need to be careful for the reasons that we just said, without looking at those big guns out there. But you see when you're top tier, the armor profile on the tank is really good, especially front on. I mean, obviously at the sides and back you don't have armor, but that's what you expect from any medium tank. Now medium tank, you can play this by the numbers, as it's such a typical medium tank. You can just play it by the numbers as we discussed in the medium tank guide. So basically you're the game's CPU, you should assess the information as the game unfolds and move accordingly. Use the speed and agility of the tank to get around and take advantage of where the reds are. So therefore you should scout, spot and cap in this tank, and you need to assess and reassess. So basically we're going to look in the game here. It's on Himmelsdorf, and it's a mastery game, and you'll see that one of the key aspects of the game, I call it ARM: assess, reassess and move. So ARM, A.R.M, assess, reassess, move, and that's really what you should be constantly doing in a medium tank, and what we discussed in the medium tank guide here on channel. Now I've looked at the setup, so therefore I decide, rather than going to B, going straight to A, I want to get there and take advantage of the fact that we can cap this and maybe spot up the enemy before they move, because I've looked at their setup and it doesn't look like they're going to go there. We can always go back and cap B later, but I really wanted to try to get an advantage, and to do that to try to spot up their one medium tank. Now we're going to move. So job done is there. So then the next tank of a medium task of a medium tank is to flank. Right, this is exactly playing medium tank by the numbers that we discussed in the medium tank guide. We see here, here's the reward for that movement. You know, this is very, very simple gameplay. Slow this down so you can have a look at it again. That is the muzzle velocity in action. If you didn't have supercharge loaded, you probably wouldn't have made that shot because you're firing over quite some distance. Again, look at that. That is the muzzle velocity in action there. That's why I use supercharge all the time when I'm playing. Now that position is burned. The waffle tractor has a bead on me, so we really need to move. So therefore we are assessing, reassessing and moving ARM. Easy to remember, right? Assess, reassess, move accordingly. Now this is the reward for that movement. Not staying in the previous position like a dummy. I'm going to take some damage, etc. Move around the map. And when you move, you get, like that was a very, very easy kill for me, right? There's a fantastic shot coming up here. And again, that's the muzzle velocity in action. Allows this sort of accuracy over the short distance. That over that 1200 meters per second muzzle velocity just allows that to smash in there. Round in here. Now decision making 101. And decision making here is not to cap. Why? Because if I sit there, that rim is going to put some damage onto me. But now I know he's reloading, so therefore the thing to do now is to move and take him out rather than sit and cap. That is decision making. In a supremacy game, you know, it's about capping. But you also have to just use your brain and not blindly go and cap. Now is the time to cap, right? Because we've cleared off the rim, cleared off the other red, the medium, and now we can cap in safety. And that's really what this game is about. It's about assessing and making important decisions, not just, you know, simply saying, okay, well, I'm in a medium tank, I should cap. Sit there, that rim might have put another round into me or taken out my ally, and that's not going to help anybody. Instead, take advantage of the fact that he's reloading, go in, take him out, and take out the other red at D, and then we can cap in safety. Now, I thought I was going to get up that bank because I had been playing the T-54 lightweight before. The T-54 lightweight would have gone up that, and you could see that I really nearly came a cropper there. I could have been killed, and actually I get lucky here. Look at that bounce. That bounce would have taken, that shot would have taken me out, but that Armour comes to my rescue. I didn't make it easy for him. I didn't give him a clean shot. I was moving around, making those awkward relative armor angles for him. But nonetheless, bit of luck there. But as I said before, any player who tells you that you don't need a small piece of luck to get a mastery badge or to do well in a game is lying. Every player who gets a mastery badge gets some piece of luck in a game, right? That's just the way it is, and I'm happy to admit in nearly every mastery game that I have gotten, and you know, I show them when I'm doing tank reviews, there's always some luck involved, right? And I'm quite happy to admit that, and I got lucky there. I made it difficult for him, but nonetheless still got lucky. And you know, so there you go. I'm quite happy to admit that. So almost 3.8k damage, 5 kills, and I think what this demonstrates is, though, how well this tank can perform, and how well in general medium tanks can perform and influence games. And it's about decision making. Firstly, at the start, it's about decision making at the start of the game, checking the setup, making the right decision, as I did there, to go to A, because I knew that we had an advantage in medium tanks. Push past B, go to A, spot them up, then I'm able to flank. And then it's about ARM, assess, reassess, move. Move when your position is burned. Move to another position, then you get an easy kill, as we did in that game. Then decide, cap or not cap? No, I'm not going to cap. I'm going to move and take out that rim. It's a big dangerous gun, let's take it out. Then move on, take out the other, then cap. And it's just, I mean, it seems simple when you see it, but those are decisions you have to make during the game, and decisions that are important and define whether or not you win, whether or not you finish top, or whether or not you perhaps get a mastery badge. Key decisions. So always remember ARM, assess, reassess, and move. Now, this is an excellent medium tank, as we discussed, and I would say maybe the best in the tier, certainly up there. I know a lot of people like the Cent 7.1, but I prefer this, I have to say. It's a really tough competitor. It's an excellent brawler because it has that bit of armour on the front. It has a low profile, and don't underestimate how important that is. It's very difficult to hit. You don't stick out above things. You're small, agile, you're mobile, you have amazing traverse speed. And that low profile with a good armour profile on the sides and the back, if you're moving around creating those angles, it's difficult to pen. 100mm gun, lacks a bit of pen as we discussed, but you supercharge, and you need to use you'll need to load up with heat too, but the rate of fire makes up for it if you have to use heat, because you've got 6.3 second reload. So and of course, as we discussed before, the actual versus theoretical DPM, don't worry about losing a bit of damage on firing heat rounds if you have to, because you can make it up on the 6.3 seconds. Now the medium tank, play by numbers, and ARM, I think practice with this tank, because the next two tanks in this line are absolutely brilliant medium tanks, perhaps the best in the whole game. The Object 140 and the T-62A, and of course the eternal question always is, which should I get, which is better? And I'm going to try to answer that question for you in the review of each of those tanks, which will be coming shortly on channel, or maybe already on channel. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, hope you found it useful, and I guess all that remains for me to say is pants off.